Good afternoon and welcome back to What Matters Gulf Coast. Now, before we get started with our program today, of course, today we must remember today is the anniversary of what of 9/11. It's not a happy celebration, but we do have to honor it. And as is stated from President Obama, even the smallest act of service, the simplest act of kindness, is a way to honor those we lost, a way to reclaim that spirit of unity that followed 9/11. And please keep in mind that we actually lost 2,977 lives were lost. And that does not even include the families, the relatives, and the friends that were impacted as a result of that loss. So, our way of honoring 9/11 is to go and do something kind for someone. Now, we're going to get started. Today is a little different. We do not have a special guest. I do have a couple of things that I wanted to share with you, and we may not be on as long as usual. But I think these are very interesting. Yesterday, I was listening to a podcast, and the little lady on the podcast was Dr. Wanda Alderman. She's written a book called The Last Black Teacher. And she goes on to give us some numbers, give us some statistics. In her book, she talked about the fact that public education's budget is $800 billion per year. That's a lot of money. And generally, it goes up from year to year because Congress appropriates a little bit more, a little bit more. So right now, $800 billion. The other thing she mentioned, as I said, the title of the book was The Last Black Teacher: Race, Education, and Students of Color. She goes on to talk about the fact that the majority of the children in public schools are children of color. I'll repeat that. The majority of the children in public schools are children of color, while 80% of the teachers are white. Houston, we have a problem. We are such a diverse country, and will continue to be diverse, even more so each year. We need our teaching staff, coaching staff to reflect the diversity of our general population. One of the things that was startling to me, I come from the classroom, I come from an education background. One of the statistics she spoke about that was kind of startling to me was that over 38,000 Black teachers were let go of as schools were closed and those buildings were taken over by private schools. It is amazing. We know this. We see this in Mobile County. And right now, I'm talking about Mobile County. But everything I'm saying can be replicated across the state of Alabama, across the USA. We actually lose 10,000 Black teachers per year across the states, across the US. Folks, This has to stop. If we do not get in and give it the attention that is needed, and assist with some recruiting, and assist with talking to your family members, talking to your young folks about the importance of becoming an educator. Now, it does not mean you've got to spend your lifetime in the classroom. And some educators do, because that's where they want to be. That's what they enjoy. But it is a possibility for you to advance. They just recently got a raise, so the starting pay for teachers is slightly more than what it was last year. And I don't have those figures in front of me. I should have them, but I'll have them another time. One of the things that the Mobile Retired Education Association and the North Mobile Retired Education Association have begun to do is to work with the Future Teachers of Alabama program. As a matter of fact, Alabama Education Association, AEA, will help sponsor a site at the high schools and middle schools. There would need to be, of course, a local teacher who would be the sponsor for the program. But this is a service club, just like all the other service clubs. And it helps to get students interested and motivated and eager to, when they graduate, go into education. Currently, the two Retired Educators Association are working with 3 high schools in Mobile County: Baker High School, Faulkner Career Tech, and Alma Bryant High School. Those high schools have dual enrollment in education. And that program is partnered with Bishop State. So you can actually finish high school and will have finished your first 2 years of college. So if you're interested, and if you're at those schools, or you've got family members that may be at those schools, get them to go and check with the counselor about the Future Teachers of Alabama program. It's an excellent way to get an education. Now, let me tell you some other things. We decided, the two retired educators, along with, and I forgot to mention this, so let me mention it now, but along with the National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa, which is a sorority specifically for educators. We have retired members as well as active educators a part of this sorority. The 3 organizations, the 2 retired associations and the sorority, have partnered to work on developing Future Teachers of Alabama sites, service clubs at each one of the high schools. This year, we're taking on 3. Next year, we want to take another 3 or 4, and we actually can even take middle schoolers too. There is a stipend that the sponsoring teacher at the high school or the middle school can get at the end of the year. Once the year has been completed and the teacher's completed the requirements, there is a stipend that she would get. And this stipend is funded by Alabama Education Association. As I said before, there is a dire need. Well, the 3 organizations, the 2 retired associations, and the National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa came together and they decided, okay, we get them through high school. What's next? we have got to make sure that there's some funding, some monies, some incentive programs, some scholarships, something to help these students stay in education. Now, two things. Number one, each one of those organizations, Mobile Retired Education Association, North Mobile Retired Education Association, and the National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa. All three of those organizations give out scholarships, and each one of them give out anywhere from 3 to 5 scholarships per year. Next step, there are programs that the state has in place to help with the recruiting and the retaining of teachers. The first one being Teach Alabama. It's an acronym, TEACH, and the contact information is on the screen, but the person you need to see or talk to is Michelle Rayburn, and her number is 334-271-0304, or M. Raybon, Raybon, at apcteam.org. That's the Teach program. The Teach program specializes in, or focuses rather, in students who want to go into early childhood education. So they give out scholarships. It's an application process, and they give out their money to those students who want degrees in early childhood education. They will actually fund up to 80% of the tuition and the books if you get a Teach scholarship. They have two programs under Teach. One of them will cover, if you only want a 2-year degree, there is a program that would cover the 2 years degree. If you want the 4-year degree, there's a program that would cover the 4 years. But either way, the tuition would be paid, 80% of the tuition would be paid, and that includes tuition plus your books. And then once you finish, if you complete your 2 years, and that's the program you signed up for, there's an incentive for you once you have completed that. If you completed your 4 years, there is an incentive for you once you have completed, a stipend for you once you have completed your 4 years. Plus, you will not have a hard time finding a job either. Now, that's one program, and that's, as I said, mainly for early childhood education, and that's for people who want to go into the school system or want to work in childcare. There's a big push in childcare now to get the staff educated and caught up with the next step, which would be into schools. So the state has put some money aside for that, so you can go back to school. And even if you go and you do your 2 years and you come out and work, and then you realize, I want to go back and finish my other 2 years, you can actually go back and reapply and get monies to complete those other 2 years. So I think it's a wonderful opportunity. The next program I want to talk about is not a local program, although they are advertising in Mobile County, and this program is tied specifically to Mobile County. And it is a program that the University of West Alabama has. and you have the information on the screen. It's 205 652 3401. And it's, of course, under the Department of Education. You want to ask for the academic coordinator, Miss Tansy Brown, and her telephone number is 251 895 2308. And she's at the University of West Alabama. University of West Alabama has a program to recruit teachers, to get people to go into education. And they will actually pay you to go to school and get your degree in education. Now, I don't know a whole lot about that program. I do know that it's very, very popular. University of South Alabama have lost a lot of their education majors because they can transfer over to University of West Alabama and get paid to go to school. So it is a very popular program. But do me a favor, either Google University of West Alabama or call that number 205 652 3401. Folks, we need a diverse number of education professionals in Mobile County and across Alabama. We are too diverse, even in our state, not to see those same diversities show up in your teaching staff. And when I say diverse, I mean diverse. I mean all types of ethnic and racial groups. We should see those. We're getting, I retired from a school in the Bayou, and we had a large population of Asians. We had Vietnamese, we had Cambodians, and we had Laotians. We also had a vastly growing Hispanic population, along with the whites and the blacks. So in our classrooms, standing before our children, our children should see someone that looks like them. You may not have someone that looks like you in every class, but some of those classes you should see have a person that looks like you. As a result, our teaching and coaching staff should reflect the population of the county. And this is also true for the rest of the state. Folks, we have to fight for this. So talk to your young people who are in middle school or high school and encourage them the need to go into education as a profession. We need them desperately. Now, that's my rant on the education side. And we're getting ready to change horses for just a few minutes. We're going to go into the political forum. We do have a very important political forum that's coming up in October. We have some wonderful candidates that are running. They don't have the monies that the other side has. So they have to kind of pool their resources. They have to do these political forums where they all kind of put in a certain amount of money in order to have it happen. And they're doing one on October 1st. Can we get that, Miss Susan? Can we get that flyer up? Okay, you can see it. It's called A Taste of Politics. So they've got all of these great chefs that are coming to prepare their specialties. And you pay a fee, you get in, you hear the politicians, each one of them, give you their presentation, their platforms, but you also get the meal. So you get a chance to go from one chef setup to the next, to the next, and taste some of their food. Yeah, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for you, especially those of you who are not as familiar with all of the candidates. If you look at the bottom, the pictures at the bottom of the page, those are our candidates that are running for office. For example, we have Miss Pamela Lafitte, who's running for Secretary of State. And folks, do you realize how important the Secretary of State is? Have you listened to the news of what these secretaries of states are doing all across the United States? How they have actually installed some people that are supposed to look and see whether or not your voice can be heard, whether or not your vote can be counted. Secretary of States now are extremely important, very much so. And we do have a person, Pamela Lafitte. We have Moesha Donald, who is running for our district attorney, DA, for our local DA. And then we have, I'm trying to read the small print here. And then we have, oh, yeah, Jessica. Jessica is running for juvenile judge. And then we have
That's going to be Jackie Brown running for
I'm
juvenile.
sorry, Jackie Brown. Thank you. Jackie Brown is running for juvenile judge. We have LeBaron Perkins, who's running for sheriff. And of course, most of you already know Senator Vivian Figures. It is her turn to run again for state senator. So this will be a wonderful opportunity to meet and greet all of these people and get a meal at the same time. Now, they're using this as a fundraising opportunity. So there's a little bit of price that's been added to the tickets. They're not cheap, but think about this is your donation to a campaign, which means you could possibly use this on income taxes. But anyway, the tickets, the individual tickets are $75 each, and a table can be 500, which means 10 at a table, which means the tickets would only be $50 a piece. So let's put this on our calendar, October the 1st, 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. And you must call to reserve your seat. And that number is 251 421 5072. All right. The next thing I would like to cover quickly is Stand Up Mobile. Stand Up Mobile has become a very important organization in Mobile County. They lobbied very heavily for the redistricting. They even hired experts to come in and study the issue and then draw a plan that was submitted to City Council and the mayor as a possible way of redistricting, which would have been fair and equitable. Well, it didn't pass, but the plan that did pass was pretty similar to it. So Stand Up Mobile had quite a bit of influence in the decision making for that redistricting. The one that did pass, as you heard from Councilman Carroll a couple of weeks back, will actually give a seventh district, District 7, a minority district. Now, we got to get the folks out there. We've got to get someone to run. And then we've got to go out and vote. Those of you who live in District 7 have got to go and vote, especially the young people. We need to get them out the door so they can go and vote. Voting is extremely important. And Stand Up Mobile is a blueprint for us. And they are committed to bringing the power of the Black vote to elections at all levels. They believe it's important that all people have their voices heard, especially those that are too often excluded from the political, the economic, and social institutions that shape their lives. Your contribution will benefit efforts for voter registration and education efforts. So Stand Up Mobile. Do me a favor, Google standupmobile.org and read up on them. They generally have a calendar of events, and they're focusing a great deal on voter registration right now. And we need that, folks. We need to get people out, get them registered. And then once we get them registered, we can't walk off and leave them. We've got to hold their hands through the entire process. Once we get them registered, then we need to help them. We've got to do voter education, and then we have to do voter engagement. Voter education is where they actually take a look at the candidates, they listen to their platform, they make their decision. And voter engagement is where they actually go out and they vote, or they go out and they volunteer for a campaign, or they go out and they join some of these groups that are working with the different campaigns, are working for the voter registration. So we have to do it's a three-pronged process to make sure we have successful voters. And folks, I'm going to say this and then we're about to wind down, but there are some very important political issues that are coming up that would eventually, sometimes in the next year, go to the Supreme Court. And one of them is contraception. Now, I'm not here to tell you what you should or should not do when it comes to that kind of topic, whether you should use them or I'm a proponent for them or I'm a proponent against them. That's your decision. What the Supreme Court is looking at, they're looking at the possibilities. As a matter of fact, Clarence Thomas just kind of let a lot of stuff slip. Anyway, I would say something else, but I'll leave that alone. They're looking at the possibility of changing the law, banning contraceptions of any form, not just birth control pills, but any form of contraceptions could be banned. The other thing they're looking at is cutting Social Security. That's another thing. They consider it a luxury program. They consider it an entitlement. Not that we've worked all these years and put our money into Social Security, but it's an entitlement. Now, they're not looking at rolling back that massive tax break that T. Rump gave his wealthy, the top 1% and the corporations. So it's very, very important that we all get out there and vote. Our next election day will be November 8th. You must register if you have not, either online or in person by October 8th. And you actually can go to vote.gov and do the registration process right there online. And then just before it's time to go vote, like late October, I would double check it again because some states, they have been knocking people off because their names resemble somebody else's name. And they're saying this is the same person trying to vote twice. So I would double check anyway. Our next election, as I said, would be November 8th, 2022. So please talk to your young folks. Get your young folks, take them with you. And even your kids that may be in elementary school, take them with you when you go to vote. Get them thinking about what step, how this is a major step. Explain to them, use it as a teachable moment. And every time you go to vote, take them with you so they can see and understand and it comes up in their system. Well, that is our show for today. We wanted to catch you up on a few things. And then we want to encourage you to participate with the political forum. That's going to be October the 1st. And we want you to go online and like Stand Up Mobile's Facebook page. Then you will get the notifications. Thank you again for joining us. Please join us again next Sunday at 4 p.m. Same place, same time. Thank you. Good evening.